From overpowered bows to demonic hammers, Skyrim has many secret weapons lurking in its corners, but most of them aren't even worth finding, let alone using. So, to make your life easier, we went through the trouble of finding the best hidden weapons for you. Get ready to lighten your inventory, because these are the top 10 secret weapons you can find in Skyrim. Number 1. Zephyr. If min-maxing is how you want to play the game, then being a stealth archer is the way to go. But anyone who's tried this playstyle can know how slow the bow drawing is during the early game. It feels like your character suddenly becomes a decrepit old man as soon as the bow comes out. But with the Zephyr, you'll never have to worry about drawing your bow again. This unique bow can be found in the ruins of Arkanthams, as it once belonged to a fellow adventurer named Katria, who died trying to uncover the legend of the Ethereum Forge. With the help of this spectral ghost, you now have to make your way across an assortment of Dwemer contraptions and lurking Falmer before you finally get to the fallen tree trunk where Katria fell from all those years ago. Being careful not to have the same fate as her, you can slowly make your way to the edge of the tree, where you'll find Zephyr. Katria was definitely a sweaty adventurer if she was using this bow, as it can make your already broken stealth archer build that much more overpowered. This is thanks to its draw speed, which is 30% faster than other bows, making it the fastest drawing bow in the game. Coupling this with the quickshot perk, and you have the makings of a Rambo build you never thought you could have had. After all, who needs to have a dagger as a secondary when you can pump enemies full of arrows faster than they can swing? Number 2. Chillrend. Chillrend is constantly heralded as one of the best weapons in all of Skyrim, and for good reason. Thanks to its high base damage, this frozen sword is essential for any one-handed playthrough, especially during the higher levels when the Chillrend dishes out a cold serving of 15 base damage, along with 30 points of frost damage and a paralysis enchantment to boot. The sword is found in Mercer Frey's Manor, which can be accessed during the tail end of the Thieves' Guild questline. Past the myriad of traps and guards, you'll eventually find yourself inside Mercer's secret room, and sitting in a display case will be the Chillrend. This weapon is not only unique for its ridiculously high base damage and incredible enchantments, but it's also one of the few weapons in the game that also makes an appearance in Oblivion. And it's good to see that this glass sword wasn't nerfed when it found its way to Skyrim. Number 3. Volendrung. Two-handed weapons seldom get the recognition of other weapons, and this is for a good reason. They're slow, cumbersome, and require both hands to use. And although there's wisdom in opting for something more versatile, we can't deny that the two-handed weapons have the coolest designs. And there's no better example of this than Volendrung. This warhammer looks like something out of an HR Giga artwork, but its origins go way back to the Elder Scrolls arena. And from the first Elder Scrolls game to the last, Volendrung remains as one of the best warhammers you can find. To unlock it, you'll first have to complete the Cursed Tribe. This quest has you helping an orc stronghold regain its strength by contacting the Daedric Prince Malakath. Malakath will have you and the stronghold's chieftain Yarmaz go out on a raid together to retrieve a warhammer from the local giant. But being the coward that Yarmaz is, he'll either have you retrieve the warhammer for him or die in hilarious fashion trying to take the warhammer himself. Regardless, when you return to the stronghold and contact Malakath for the last time, he'll congratulate you on your courage and reward you with the Volendrung. This bad boy boasts the same base damage as the Ebony Warhammer, with the added bonus of being one of the fastest weapons of its class in the game. But what turns Volendrung from a good warhammer into a great one is its enchantment. By absorbing 50 points of stamina, this helps you get back some of the stamina points that most two-handed weapons completely suck dry. Number 4. Longhammer. Though many of the weapons listed here are great in their own way, if you're after the best, then you needn't look any further than the Longhammer. This warhammer can be found in a cave called Lion's Retreat. Inside, you'll be greeted by a small army of Falmer, who turn this bar for bandits into their hunting grounds. To find the Longhammer, you'll first have to locate the remains of Rad, the bar's owner. Unfortunately for you, the Falmer dragged Rad all the way back to their lair. Once you get to the deepest part of the dungeon, you'll find Rad and the Longhammer underneath him. This warhammer is one of the few weapons in Skyrim that has the potential to become broken to all hell with the right perks and shouts. This is mainly thanks to its perk, which makes it swing as fast as a one-handed weapon. When you combine this with the elemental fury shouts and the racial power of the orcs, you'll be swinging this warhammer faster than a skooma addict, all while dishing out devastating damage. Number 5. Dragonbane. We've all been there. You've just finished Dragon Rising, and now you're bombarded with dragon attacks that make any sort of exploration without fast travel a terrible idea. Well, luckily for you, there's a weapon that will strike fear into the hearts of any scaly beast you come across. I am, of course, talking about the Dragonbane. This weapon is unlocked via the main questline. After freeing Esbern and entering Skyhaven Temple, you'll notice an armory room off to the side. Along with other ancient Akaviri weapons and armor, you'll find the Dragonbane sitting front and center on the table. This weapon is unique for several reasons. First is its enchantment. At its highest level, it does 40 points of extra damage to dragons and 10 points of shock damage to all other enemies. This insane perk really does make this sword live up to its name, as dragons will be sure to soil themselves whenever you whip this bad boy out. What's even cooler is the unique effect this enchantment has on the weapon's appearance, as it makes it have little bolts of lightning run across the entire blade. It's definitely a weapon that deserves a spot in any inventory. Number 6. Giant's Club. Having all these weapons to ourselves is all well and good, but if we want to be ready for anything, our companions need to be as well equipped as we are. The only issue is that the best weapons in Skyrim are usually too good to just hand over to our followers. That's why, with this next weapon, it's impossible for anyone other than our followers to use it. Heading down to Tumble Arch Pass and going up a nearby cliff will reveal the weapon in question lying next to a brazier. The Giant's Club is a comically large weapon that has an equally ridiculous amount of base damage. As mentioned before, it's also impossible to equip by default, and the only way to get use out of it is by ordering your follower to pick it up and use it for themselves. It's the perfect gift for any loyal companion. After all, they deserve to be thrown a bone every now and then as well, literally in this case. Number 7. Dawnguard Rune Axe. If you thought that the Dawnbreaker was the only weapon fit to rid Skyrim of darkness, then think again. As described, the Dawnguard Rune Axe is an axe imbued with magic fueled by the destruction of the unholy. And if that doesn't sound like a weapon fit for a holy playthrough, I don't know what does. But brace yourself, as acquiring this weapon could be an extremely tedious task depending on your luck. To get the opportunity to acquire the weapon, you will have had to side with the Dawnguard and have finished the quest bolstering the ranks. Afterwards, you'll have unlocked several side quests you can do for the new members. The only issue is that the order these quests are given is random, so although you can get the Rune Axe quest right off the bat, be prepared to do some grunt work beforehand. Eventually, you'll unlock the quest Lost Relics, where one of the new recruits, Florentius Banius, will give you the locations of 3 unique weapons and armor. All these are found at random locations, but the one we're looking for is the Dawnguard Rune Axe. This weapon is identical to the standard Dawnguard War Axe, but with its enchantment, it deals an extra 10 sun damage for every 10 undead enemies slain with the axe. This means that, theoretically, this axe can deal up to 100 extra damage to undead foes. Upgrading this axe with the Arcane Smithing perk starts to give the Dawnbreaker a run for its money. But if you want to maximize your vampire and Draugr slaying potential, then dual-wielding these weapons is the way to go. Doing this will turn Nordic tombs and vampire lairs into slaughterhouses and is sure to strike fear into Clan Volkihar, that's for sure. All I can say is that Lord Harkon's been really quiet since I started using this build. Number 8. Valder's Lucky Dagger. Valder's Lucky Dagger is one of the most controversial weapons in the game. Many people think that it's a gift from the gods, while others feel like it deserves to be tossed in the rat way. The unique steel dagger is awarded to you by Valder, a Nord hunter who was ambushed along with his hunting party by Spriggans while they were out hunting a bear. Choosing to help him will lead to the two of you going into Moss Mother Cavern, where you'll avenge Valder's friends as well as take down the prize bear once and for all. And as a token of his appreciation, he'll give you his lucky dagger. Admittedly, this weapon has some pretty unremarkable base stats. It is, after all, just a steel dagger. But what makes Valder's Lucky Dagger special is its effect, a whopping 25% chance of a critical hit. Many people have said that this is actually not that impressive, since critical hit damage is determined by the weapon's base damage before any enchantments or upgrades. And although this is true, they miss the part where critical hits stagger enemies. So, what we really have is a smaller and weaker wind shear. But with that being said, Valder's Lucky Dagger can still be pretty useful in the early game, especially combined with the Elemental Fury Shout. Number 9. Axe of Fiery Souls. Soul Trap is one of the most useful enchantments you can have on your weapon. So when I tell you that you can get an axe that has both Soul Trap and fire damage in one enchantment, you'll want it in your arsenal. To find such a weapon, you'll have to go to Ironbind Barrow. When you arrive, this tomb will be scouted by two adventurers who feel like they aren't up to the challenge the barrow will bring. Offering to tag along will persuade the two to head inside with you, which makes clearing this dungeon much easier. Just keep your eye on the Argonian. Once you reach the end of the barrow and take down Warlord Gathric, you should notice a glowing battle axe behind his throne. This is the Steel Battle Axe of Fiery Souls. It has identical stats to the regular Steel Battle Axe, but with the addition of the Fiery Soul Trap enchantment. This unique enchantment can only be found on this weapon, and it's basically the Soul Trap and Fire Damage enchantment combined into one. Not only does this mean that you can further improve the stats by having the Augmented Flames perk, but the two powers this Battle Axe provides only count as one enchantment. So, when the Battle Axe eventually becomes obsolete, or if you're using a different weapon type, then you can place the enchantment on any one of your other weapons. And finally, number 10. Gloves of the Pugilist. A player using an unarmed build is as rare as a healthy and supportive family in Skyrim. Yet Bethesda accounted for both possibilities nonetheless. The Glove of the Pugilist is one of those weapons that pretty much everyone finds but never ends up using. This set of enchanted gloves is found in the Ratway, specifically on the body of Giant the Fist, and they pack a pretty hefty punch, no pun intended. Although the gloves themselves leave a lot to be desired, the Fortify Unarmed Damage enchantment is what really makes this find so special. Putting this enchantment on a set of heavy gauntlets in tandem with the Fists of Steel perks turns your hands into registered lethal weapons. This might sound a little underwhelming at first, but when you factor in the number of times you can progress quests through a brawl, you realize how vital a set of gloves with this enchantment is for any playthrough. You also can't deny that there isn't any better way to assert your dominance over Skyrim's most dangerous foes than beating them to a pulp with your bare fists. It's certainly a build that'll put hair on your chest, that's for sure.
Subscribe to Fall Damage, you milk drinker.